the contracting draft contract, making draft contracts. And of course, making contract is not a difficult, it's a very simple. It can be, I can understand you provide some key inputs and it will be able to draft the contract very quickly. But how it is going to be used for negotiation, how it is, whether it's being used in other countries, I'm sure YCM is going to enlighten us, going to throw some light on it. And this webinar would discuss what's happening everywhere in the world, not only limited to our country, and how we could also think of adopting and looking at this AI in, for the negotiation or the making of the draft and all these kind of things. I'm sure ADR, which is devoting its time on the things like negotiation, the alternate to the normal courtroom proceedings, whether they call it, negotiations, arbitration, and all that. I'm sure this AI technology and the negotiation part of it will be a very effective tool for the ADR, for the ADR regime and ADR the ecosystem. So I would also like to compliment Dr. Tanmay Agrawal and Professor Vijit for taking this initiative on part of the ADR committee, and also the students and faculty members who are part of the ADR committee. I would like to congratulate that you have been able to collaborate with YCM to have this webinar today in the afternoon. The beneficiaries are going to be our students and all those faculties, because this is something new, and I'm sure it's going to be very good for everyone. I would also like to thank the Dean of ICFAI Law School, Dr. Harish Verma, I think he's online, and Dr. Pratima Soni, who is the Associate Dean, who are always in the forefront of taking lead and initiative in conducting webinars, conducting conferences on the new topics. And this is one of the lead topic which I'm quite impressed with. And I'm there to hear the views in the panel discussion and try to learn something so that we can take forward. There will be some takeaways which could be used in the education, we could be used in the advocacy domain, in the law. All people who are going to be part of it, I'm sure they're going to benefit and they're going to learn something out of it. My best wishes to the webinar. We are all going to be part of it. And thank you very much for inviting me and giving me some time to welcome all of you. Welcome YCM and all of the delegates who are part of this. Thank you very much. Over to you so much, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for your kind words of wisdom and setting the tone of the session. I give the session back to Kudrat.
Thank you. Thank you so much. With that, I'd like to formally introduce our speakers very briefly. So, of course, we have Dr. Tanmay Agrawal. He's absolutely passionate about what he does. Currently, he's the Assistant Professor of Law at ICFAI University. He's a leading scholar with amazing work at the intersection of law and emerging technologies. He also holds a PhD focused on AI. Our next expert is Shane Ray Martin, who has been a complete sport. We reached out to you on LinkedIn and you accepted our invite to join in. And I'm so happy to see Kevin also knows you. So we see you've been around in the peace sector for a while now. Currently, Shane is a venture capitalist at B Ventures. He's doing a lot of work around AI and negotiations, supporting startups in this domain, is also an ultra marathoner with a globally acclaimed podcast. We're very happy to have you here, Shane, today. So thank you for joining.
It's so wonderful to be here.
Great, super. Our next expert is Shreyas Singh Tomar, who by background is an M&A lawyer, but today he's the co-founder of Jurisphere AI, and we need young legal professionals like Shreyas to take AI law and technology forward. He has a strong background in corporate and commercial laws. Thank you so much for being here today, Shreyas. Your tool will give an insight to the professionals and students who've joined in on what is AI and negotiation hands-on.
Thank you, Kudrat, for having me here.
Okay, great. With that, it's time for a poll again. So the format of the session today is we're going to do some interactive polls on Zoom to get the pulse of the audience. And then we will pose some questions to our experts to hear their experience and their views. Can we have the next poll triggered, please? I can maybe already read the question for all of you all. Can you all see it?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, super. As a negotiator using AI-assisted negotiation, would you be concerned of any of the following? Fairness of outcome, data privacy and confidentiality, lack of empathy, all of the above. Please take 10 seconds to put in your vote. Okay, last 5 seconds before we end the poll. Okay, here are the results. 58% have said all of the above, which includes fairness of outcome, data privacy, confidentiality, lack of empathy, and then 32%, the next highest vote is for data privacy and confidentiality. Great. With that, I would want to invite Dr. Tanmay Agarwal to share from your experience, how do you think AI and negotiation intersect and lay the foundation for the questions for our experts going forward?
Thank you so much, first of all, for this opportunity, Kudrat, and the YCM team. I, of course, thank our President, Sir, SP Singh, Sir, for this always just being with us and supporting and guiding us throughout the every venture that we take it up, may it be AI, may it be law, may it be leadership, and so on and so forth. So I take this opportunity to quickly, very briefly introduce all of our participants to the topic, which is AI and negotiations. So as we all know about artificial intelligence, this is a platform where all the people are already very well aware about artificial intelligence and its various domains. But still, for the pursuance sake, I'll just quickly take you through what exactly we understand and we define AI. Because till today, after a decade, after so many years of actually a century, as Sir mentioned, we are not able to get a landmark, which is a proper codified law by India, but we do have one by European Union as such. And I'll be just sharing a screen shortly so that we understand why exactly AI and what is the intersection with the negotiations. So as we talk about negotiations, we understand that negotiations are in multiple phases, not just conflict or resolution after we have a set of problems, where we need to take it besides out of the court settlements, which are by ADR mechanisms, alternative dispute or resolution. Negotiation is everywhere today, right? Not only that, even before that, the pre-stages of the contract drafting, we also have the contract negotiations. We need to also see where artificial intelligence can actually help us to draft and lay out proper key points of a well drafted contract, right? So I was just discussing with the president, sir, that whereas AI has lots and lots of applications and benefits, it becomes all the more difficult if it commits a very, very single simple mistake. Because if it is helping you to solve the problem of 300 broad pages document, if you make a one single error, the error is made everywhere. And of course, as per the poll shared by Kudrat, we understand that we do have data privacy risk, we do have various ethical problems, we do have other codification problems that we are not able to address at the moment. But for sure, we as legal parallels over here, we do have experts like Shresh who are already using these tools with regard to negotiations, and I'll be looking forward to hearing them out along with Shane, who would be sharing international perspective on how disputes are resolved and how AI is helping us out. But before they go, I'll just quickly share the screen and make you available and make you aligned with the whole theme. I'll just quickly get a confirmation if the screen is visible to everyone.
It's visible, sir.
Fantastic. So yes, that's the session that we are on. Of course, just a single line definition, which is intelligence exhibited by machines, and the last two lines, cognitive function that human associated like problem solving abilities, is what we understand as artificial intelligence. We have multiple aspects and features of AI that we already know. I'll not waste our time on that. Maybe quantum computing, facial recognition, deep learning, everything. And as we know that the application of AI is in every single domain, may it be financial services, consumer goods. And why am I putting and showing this thing to you? Because negotiation could be everywhere where there's a dispute, and law comes up at every single of that places wherever there's a dispute. And that is why all of these domains, may it be automotive, ADAS, which is the AI-driven, self-driven cars by Tesla and other companies. If at all someone gets hit by that particular car, who would be the person who is liable to pay the damages to the people over there, and which law comes into place? So irrespective of the fact that we do not have a clear law at the moment, but we definitely can negotiate, right? So ADR brings us to a very, very comfortable situation wherein the whole common objective and goal is to solve the problem irrespective of whatever, right? And as I earlier also mentioned, that AI negotiations is at the pre-stage at contract domains as well. So we do have some statistics that tell us that AI agents are already within the workforce, as said by Sam Altman on the right-hand side topic. If you check it out, it says that AI agents would take the work, would be a part of the workforce in 2025. And yeah, with that, we do have that risk and threat of getting the jobs going away, as been discussed by the journals all over around. But what we are wanting to understand is that the AI agents which are solving the problem and are acting as our negotiators are also entered the workforce. This is my humble submission, and I'm sure we'll be able to understand the rest details, shaping the contract drafting as well as the alternative dispute resolution platforms. I'll just quickly talk about one single platform, which is Kiara system. It is an AI-powered contract review, and my co-presenters would agree with me that it is a very, very powerful tool that helps us directly analyze and understand the contract review softwares. It identifies the risks which are associated, inconsistencies which are there in the document, potential loopholes that might be there, Luminance, and we also have LogGeeks as some other softwares that can help us reduce the working time into the contract drafting and review process by 70%, which is a lot much, right? So I've just taken a quick snapshot of the Literella powered by Kiara for us, which is a tool for contract review by artificial intelligence. Of course, it is there for multinational companies to directly put up their contracts over there, and they can directly chat and connect with them with regard to the analyzing the clauses and the data points to deliver the best quality insight and have their due diligence, which is a very, very hazardous work, as all advocates who are working with corporates know it very well, right? So it helps us on those levels. Here is one more screenshot of the platform, which gives AI for legal work drafting, as you can check out the domains. It is also helping in marketing, business development, IT, security, talent, human resource, human management, financial pricing, analysis, everything. So of course, we need a properly trained database on which the negotiations could be done, because if we are not well aware about the key terms which have not been defined by the software, it cannot understand the contract, and if it doesn't understand the contract, forget about negotiations, right? With that, we move on to other negotiations. We do have predictive analysis for various insights that helps us to accurately settle and resolve the risk associated with that. AI is also helping us in the contract drafting. I'm just taking it quickly because, yes, I wanted to come to this slab point, which is Nibble. Nibble is one of the most expensive AI negotiator that is currently available on the platform, which gives you various purpose classes and domains that you can understand very easily, domain overall, that helps us in the sales contract review. It talks about procurement, e-commerce, to improve your profits, improve the terms of procurement, also the sales contract. So Nibble is the AI platform that you need to understand. Of course, it's a paid one. For the free softwares, it's pretty much limited to ChatGPT and some other components. Other unless and otherwise, my co-speakers would be able to share some of the free softwares which are as proficient. Is always the question, and it's always appreciated by everyone who is attending any session or seminar, right? But as we know, we are here to save time and cost. We are not wanting to do away our hard work by some random softwares which always have the risk of data concerns, privacy threats, and everything else, right? One last thing about Nibble before I move forward. It delivers 100% digital sales funnel. So when I talk about all of these elements, I'm just laying down the ground for negotiations on sales contracts, on procurements, on various elements that are on a continuous basis, mostly with regard to the production and procurement agencies which have automation done. So as this statistic says that Amazon, which is the online e-commerce platform, it has 70% of the delivery may be from taking your orders, from delivering the content to your doorsteps, all automated, 70% of it, right? Now, when everything is automated, AI is already on the runs and on the action, we would be having lots and lots of problems created by the same, and negotiations would be a very, very important element on which we'll be discussing further. Right. So AI also helps us as a facilitator. I'll still say facilitator. Why? Because it is helping and it is actually augmenting the human element work. I am not pro for this movement. I'm not saying that it is replacing the human work, which is all about dispute or resolution, may it be online, may it be offline. At the moment, we are using AI as our tool and our assistant, basically, right? Then we can always go about talking about the bias detection, mitigation, and all of the pointers. The objective in the negotiations are always to give a clear transparency, accountability, and like I said, human oversight is required for addressing the ethical concerns with regard to AI and negotiations. And as we are all aware about the due diligence that every single firm has to do for with regard to it, so we do have some real world applications of AI in all of this ADR, which I'm sure Shane would also be sharing about, and we know about the future. And yeah, of course, the conclusion that I would drop up with regard to my presentation is that AI is already helping us with multiple domains, may it be Nibble, may it be multiple other software which are helping us not only post dispute or resolution softwares, negotiating afterwards, but also helping us into the negotiations of the contract and other elements which are very important for proper contract drafting or resolving the disputes afterwards as well. And as you can see, 99 is the key word everywhere. It is efficient, it is accurate, it is smart results, but we want the human oversight for that 1% of risk that is always there, even for human workers. We know that if we leave our jobs to our subordinates, there's always a risk and a threat of something going wrong. So that's why we always need a human oversight for all of those things. So on that note, I end my talk and I pass my baton to other co-speakers. I would be happy to hear from Shreyas as well as Shane. So thank you so much. Over to Kudrat.
Thank you, Tanmay. Thank you so much for that. And I think it's time to do a pulse check with the audience again.
Sure.
Based on Dr. Tanmay's presentation, can we have a next poll, please? As the audience, what do you think? Which role will AI play most effectively in future negotiations? Is it going to be information analysis? Will AI be like a strategy or a preparation assistant? Or will it be a real-time negotiation coach when you're negotiating with parties live, where AI somehow guides you and says, hey, change your strategy or do this another way? or will AI completely be an independent negotiator without any human oversight or involvement, taking care of all negotiations that you have to deal with? 10 seconds for everybody to respond. Please choose your option. Five seconds to go. Okay, we end the poll now, and I'm sharing the results. So 41% have said strategy and preparation assistant, and 33% have said information analysis, and only 15% think that AI will be an independent negotiator in the future. Let's see, time will tell. And 11% see potential for AI adding value as a real-time negotiation coach. Great. With that, I would want to invite Shrestha to share with us all the exciting work Jurisphere AI has been doing since the past, 6 or 7 months now, and give you a hands-on experience into what can AI-enabled negotiation look like. Over to you, Shrestha.
Thank you, Kudrat. Thank you, everyone, for your time today. So before we jump into what Jurisphere is doing, I think one of the most pertinent question to be addressed today is that how is the landscape of AI looking today? And at least in the world of legal tech, and as a sub branch would come negotiation over there. So I think our journey would be a very good example for that. So while we've been working on the product for past 2 years, 3 years, but we went to market with just a very plain research tool somewhere in last June, July. And organically, without any proper marketing or something, people saw the potential. And today we have closed somewhere around 15,000 users organically without marketing. And that shows what the AI adoption is happening. And in a country like India, where there's a huge tech divide, we have seen top lawyers who are still very old school, scribbling through papers, they coming on the platform because they see that how this gives you that ultra edge in terms of negotiation strategies, litigation strategy. And something very interesting, from the last poll which I picked up, that people have been very divergent on two ideas. Some people said that it will help you in information analysis. Some people said it will help you in terms of strategy. And I think people have picked up the right vibe, right pulse, Kudrat, as you were saying over there. Yes, today AI is very good in information analysis. So this is something which you can do. You have hundreds of contracts, as Tanmay was saying, that due diligence, 100 of contracts, multiple languages. This is what AI can do for you today. Something which I, as a lawyer 4 years back, had to sit down and read individually every page is no more required. Similarly, in terms of strategy, AI gives you that upper edge to understand that, okay, these are the pain points and how these things could be worked at. AI can read multiple languages today. So while in a diverse country like India, where we have around 22 official languages, more than 200 languages, AI adoption is quintessential because we are living in a very global and a democratic setup where a person from who's practiced in maybe Tamil might be arguing in English in the Supreme Court of India. So this is what AI is helping today. It is making the system more democratic. The data sets which are sitting over there now of something which would have taken years and years to analyze and annotate, with power of AI, you can do very quickly. So I'll just quickly jump to what we've created so far to help you that, okay, how tools can help today in maybe making. Just give me a second, please. Let me know whenever my screen is visible.
Yeah, exactly.
Amazing. I see there are a couple of. Can you guys see the complete tool over here?
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yes.
Amazing. So
Yes.
this is what we're doing at Jurusphere today. We've identified a couple of pain points as a lawyer that, okay, the grunt work, what Tanmay mentioned, what VC sir mentioned over here, that today AI is helping you to change the starting point. It is not doing the work for you. It can help you do a lot of grunt, the mundane work which at lawyers you have to do, and maybe focus on the real lawyering and strategy. So what I'm doing over here is we have made this tool called as document review. Now this document review tool has a context of India, how Indian law looks like, has basic understanding of laws. Now, maybe like what I'm selecting over here is, so just to give you a context, how it works is like, let's say there is a dispute, it has gone to the High Court. Now, High Court feels like if this dispute can be settled through the process of mediation and they should send it back for negotiation, they will now send back the drafts, the complete petitions which came before the court, and maybe send it back for mediation to an official court-appointed mediator. And this is where the negotiations start. Now, for hypothetical situation, I've picked up these two petitions, and this concerns a dispute between two parties with respect to a gift deed. Now, let's say today I get these two petitions. I'm just supposed to understand, and these are like one is a 40 pager, other one is a 46 pager, and I just want to understand that what is the dispute. I just simply type like how you would like chat with me. So this is your personal assistant who's sitting at your back front, who always has your back. You can wake him up at like any hour of the day and ask questions. Can you make this summary for me? Can you make this note for me? So this is what we are doing, but something very crucial to note over here. First is definitely the fine tuning for legal purposes. An AI tool can get confused if it is not fine tuned for legal purposes. Second is confidentiality. When we are operating in world of law, legal tech, and if you are uploading the documents over here, certain models could be continually training on your data. And this is exactly what you should be careful of as a user, that training should not be happening because attorney-client privilege, be it negotiation, be it real lawyering, are core of any kind of profession. So now this is what we've done. So it has quickly given you the insights of the complete dispute, what is happening, how it is happening, the procedural history. Now, what's the beautiful part? As a negotiator, as a mediator, will you rely the output of AI? Where people said that accuracy is something which might be a problem. One problem is you cannot blindly trust the work of AI. So this is exactly the ease of work has come in because with AI, you can also do this. So for example, I just want to see over here that what was the primary claims and where this age has been mentioned. If I simply click on this button over here, it will take me to the relevant part of the document where this has been discussed. So your quick reference panel is sitting on your right side. And the next good thing is it could be in multiple languages also. So this is what we've been able to crack today with the power of AI. But let's say this goes on to a next level. You are the petitioner and like you want to just make like a negotiation strategy or understand the pain points for respondent. Chat with the document because this is logically consistent and has knowledge of the world which might be applicable on this. So I'm asking a general question that I am the petitioner over here. Give me pain points for the respondent and make a negotiation strategy. Now you'll see the magic of AI just jumping in. It will give you that head start. Okay, maybe these are the 10-15 points I should be looking at. Again, coming back to the same point, while why you should not be doing it on a general purpose tool is again for the two reasons: confidentiality, continual training, and how sacrosanct attorney-client privileges we know. Second thing is inaccuracies and irrelevancies. Because if you go on a general purpose tool, which is average of internet, you might not get exact things like this. Witness testimony, that how does a general purpose know that this witness testimony might be relevant over here? So it has given you, okay, these are the certain pain points, certain contradictions that identified within the same submissions of the respondent, has told you these, and then also prepared a negotiation strategy. Again, the beautiful part about this is click at it, go read, because work of a negotiator or a mediator is never complete until unless they themselves read and understand, because there will be some amount of interpretation which will be required. And this is exactly where step 2, what you guys agreed in your first poll, that human intervention is required. This is from where the human intervention starts. But let's say, like in this dispute, there is now a document which is in vernacular. This definitely concerns a lease deed. Now I'm going over here and selecting a lease deed. Now this lease deed, if you guys can see on the panel, is in Marathi. And this is one of the biggest problem in India, that 17 to 18% of pendency at higher court levels, High Court and the Supreme Court, is happening because the adjournment has been sought because the translated copies were not available. Now imagine in a country like India, if 17% of that problem is solved for, in negotiation, if you're sitting, you would have to simply like ask for translated copy, and maybe this would have pushed to the next session. Now what you can do at a platform today, you simply select the document, select the kind of language you want. Let's say I want like a English translated copy. You just simply click to translate, and within a couple of seconds the magic happens. And this is legal translation, because a legal document has to be translated that way only. Now you can do to and fro from like multiple languages. It had like a Hindi part, a Marathi part, handwritten parts, scribble part. We've made a state of art OCR tool, because Indian documents look a bit different. I'll just show you one more example over there. While that translation happens, so while working with one of the high courts, one of the retired judges who was sitting on a mediation panel, they sent me this document. They're like, this is the kind of documents which we are receiving on a day-to-day basis. How do we solve for it? Now you simply select over here and you go for English. Now this is what we've done. We focused on the India-specific problem. India-specific problem is that 70% of documents are this way. So in your negotiation, when you're getting these documents, you have to simply put in and maybe look for a quick typed copy or a translated copy. So we'll just wait for a couple of seconds while I'll take back to you to the last output which I just generated, which was that Marathi gift deed. So now you can see this gift deed has been translated as it is, while preserving the formatting, while preserving the pagination. Now you can see the amount of speed which it can give you. Instead of sending it to an official translator and asking, it just gives you a clear head start. I'll again take you back to the second output which I just generated over here. You can see this letter, how poorly scanned, has now been captured. I'll show you a couple of more interesting examples over here. So do you see this handwritten date over here? It says 01222. We've created a tool which can also understand Indian handwritings. So a doctor's prescription, if it is up for grabs for a negotiation, can today be quickly translated and transcribed on our platform. So yeah, this is what we are doing. You can create chronologies very quickly on our platform. You upload all the negotiation documents. In fact, I took the liberty to create for that. I just selected both the petition and then I just clicked at this button. A quick chronology has been created over here of all the documents which I just uploaded. Again, the same thing you want to see, someone is saying while you're sitting on the mediation that these guys sent me the papers and they were in Russia on in somewhere in 2009. You see, you just type Russia over here. You see, okay, there's something related to Russia in this. If you click at it, it will take you where this discussion is happening. So the live panel is before your screen and you're good to go. So this is exactly what the power of AI is today. If AI tamed in the right direction, fine-tuned for the right use cases, and trained on the right set of data, can do wonders. Literally can do wonders. Today you can, like today, like we are working with so many people, they are like doing their complete due diligences. Like as Tanmay mentioned, like due diligence is a major pain point, which would take somewhere around like 2 to 3 weeks to do, can now be done like in under an hour. With negotiators, which we are sitting today, negotiators are uploading for construction arbitration negotiations, which are happening. The files can range from 5,000 to 6,000. Now, maybe you're just looking to find one specific information. For that, a set of people will sit down, shaft through the pages. Now, all that is gone. You just put it over here, tell me the inconsistencies and tell me where this information is there. And that gives you that speed and that edge. So yeah, this is what we do with the power of AI. But I think one more point which Kudrati would like want me to address about the
Yes, absolutely. So firstly, thank you, Shresh, for showing this. When I joined the law profession 10, 12 years ago, I spent a lot of time doing this manually. So it's great that lawyers, young students who are going to graduate now have AI tools at disposal. But I wanted to know from your recent experience in India, what is the top driver for people to adopt these tools? And what is the top barrier because of which they say that, okay, no, I don't think this tool is for me?
Sure. So I'll give you answer first of all in the Indian context and then in the global context. Now, for in the Indian context, the top driver, at least at the top level firms, top lawyers, is the speed. In case if they're looking for data analysis, certain things which humans can take like 10x, AI can now do in like 1/10 of the time. So this is where the top driving thing is coming in. Second thing, which adoption is happening at a very wide level, is because it is democratizing a lot of knowledge. So something which we used to see, maybe you have to go on like the 10th tab of Google because someone has not spent money on Google marketing. Now AI, like with like models like Perplexity, with deep research, with a simple prompt, you will pick up the best and the most relevant information. So this is where the adoption is happening at a larger level. People are using it for deep research, second. But in terms of like the barriers which are happening in India, first of all, definitely there are scares around the privacy and confidentiality. The general purpose models, people are not very happy to pick it up because people are like, "Hey, what about our confidentiality?" And this is where a wrapper model like us comes into the picture, where we are preserving the confidentiality and privacy for them. Second thing is definitely like we are working with the Supreme Courts, we are working with negotiators. There is a scare that AI cannot do what humans can do. So there is an outlook difference, but the main point is that people are seeing AI to do magic today, and if it does not live to that level, people are like, "You, it's useless." Except the expectation management has to be done on that level where people understand that this is just changing the starting point. Now at a global level, what is happening? At a global level, yes, for general purposes on day-to-day thing, people are definitely using it. But again, the problem comes in that whatever outputs you are getting is average of internet. So let's say, like, I'm asking a question with respect to this is like my tenant has asked me to leave my house. What recourse do I have against him? So now internet doesn't understand, right? We are talking about the American law, the UK law, the Indian law, and those contexts, the data sets are generally very generic. So this is where the first adoption is happening. People have started losing trust somewhere or the other in the general purpose tools. But when I talk about things such as marketing, things such as advertisement, these tools are picking up like very like this is like now in day-to-day life of people who are doing marketing, digital advertising, because with the sub-agentic flow today, you can replicate the thought of a human being. And if you think in a set pattern, if you train it on these agentic flow, it should be able to give you like better answers. So yeah, this is where my 2 cents on adoption and barriers would be.
Great. Thank you for sharing that. And just for the audience here today, please put your questions in the chat for all our speakers. We'll take them at the end. And I want to quickly come to Shane, but just before that, let's do a pulse check again. Can we have our third poll, please? After seeing what Shresth has shown us, would you like to learn how you can effectively leverage AI in negotiations? If yes, please write yes, choose yes. If no, write no. Maybe if the answer had to be no, then you wouldn't be here in the first place. So, but still, let's hear and also see how many of y'all are. We also have one no. So always room for dissent. 5 seconds more for all of y'all to reply. Would you like to learn how to effectively leverage AI in negotiations? Okay. With that, we share the results. 96% say yes, 4% say no. Maybe in the Q&A round, we would want to delve in deeper why yes and why no. But now, please can we spotlight Shane? Shane, are you here? Yeah, I see you now on the screen. Great. Superb. So Shane, from your experience with startups and investors, we would love to hear your view on how do you see AI transforming the negotiation space.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me. And such wonderful demonstrations and content is being shared. Fundamentally, I believe we're entering a new era of negotiations. Specifically, there are two ways in which I believe negotiations are going to be changed forever because of AI and tools like the one that we just saw a moment ago. Number one, you're going to see negotiations accelerate. So deals are going to get done faster. We're already seeing that with Nibble, which is a great example. And then number two, you're also going to see better deals get done. You're going to see negotiations be able to create more value. And then you as a negotiator, you'll be able to claim more value. And we're already seeing this over and over and over again. So those are two ways specifically that I see negotiations changing forever. It's a very, very exciting time to be learning about law, to be learning about negotiation. And I don't think there's ever been a better time actually in history. So I'm very optimistic. And just finally, as I wrap up an answer to this question, give you an example or tell you a brief little story. Where I see negotiations changing the most are sure commercially, which we've highlighted today, but also what about peace negotiations? What about the mediation type negotiations in neighborhoods? I'm a certified mediator, and I remember when I first started learning about negotiation, I was so nervous. I was so terrified. I didn't know how to negotiate. And so I wish I would have had tools to learn how to negotiate, to learn how to solve agreements or solve conflicts and get to agreements. And so I think AI is going to be kind of like how a calculator is for math. It's going to be like how it is for conversations. AI is like a calculator for conversations. It's going to help you figure out what's the right thing to say, when to say it. But specifically in peace negotiations, because right now there are over 56 active conflicts going on in the world. The economic impacts, beyond the lives that are being lost because of wars and conflicts, is well over 19 trillion USD. And so this is a huge problem. So we're seeing a lot of startups pop up that are helping accelerate the diplomatic negotiation process. And these are the type of companies that we're investing in at B Ventures.
Great. Thank you so much for sharing that. And my next question, negotiation for me, it has always been about people and relationships, but also facts. And now with data and AI coming into the picture, how do you see negotiations moving from being, maybe more relationship driven to more data driven? Do you see that?
Well, it's a brilliant question. I sense that negotiations will always be relationship driven to some sort of extent. Whether it is more relationship driven or less relationship driven, it's just going to take experimenting and trying to negotiate. It's going to take practicing candidly. It's going to take failing at negotiations to figure out how negotiations will evolve from being fully data-driven to being fully relationship-driven. I sense that it'll be wise to always learn how to speak, how to communicate, how to listen. These skills are going to actually probably be even more important in the new era of negotiation that we're talking about today. So I always see, I see relationships always being fundamentally important to negotiations, but AI can just maybe help accelerate or help you work through issues and the negotiation faster than it could prior. So relationships will always be important. And an example of this actually is there's a company called Didi that is almost like a stoplight for negotiations. So they're using data from previous successful negotiations, previous failed negotiations, and it sits on all that data. And then it tells you and it analyzes your negotiation in real time, whether green light, yes, these two countries should negotiate, or red light, these two countries should not negotiate. And it's almost like a prediction machine for a negotiation. And so the data can be almost like your green light, your stoplight, like yes, go, or it can also be like your red light, stop, don't go. But at the end of the day, relationships will always matter.
Great, thank you. And then what do you think the future of AI-driven negotiation will look like? Why should people invest time, money into these startups, or just effort we still had 4% who said, no, I don't want to learn how to leverage AI in negotiation. So why should people even try AI-enabled negotiation?
Well, I would say AI is not the future. I would say AI is already here. So if you're not leveraging AI or learning how to leverage AI, figuring out how to create AI agents or figuring out how to create GPTs and chat GPT, whatever it may be, try something because this is the future. It's very exciting and there really is no escaping it. If we log into the news today, there's going to be an article on AI. If you open your email inbox, there's probably a new newsletter that's popping up where they're talking about AI. It's literally everywhere. So why avoid it? And it's already been around for a long time, as the dean mentioned earlier. So why avoid it? Why not embrace it and figure out how you can leverage it best for you?
Great. Super. Completely agree with that. So it could be your own way, starting out small with a free tool or going to something full-fledged like Jurisphere AI, or it could also be researching on it, the line that Dr. Tanmay has taken, understand the ethical challenges, legal challenges, whatever it is. My strong advice too is get involved. How? That's something that you decide for yourself.
Yeah. 100%. A lot of big things start small. So there's a lot of wisdom to starting small, taking one bite, try something simple, and then go from there. And I would say also, finally, don't be intimidated or nervous or scared to use it. Just try it. You'll be okay. I've been in the same boat before. I know what it's like to be nervous before a negotiation. Over time and with practice and persistence, it gets easier and easier and easier, but you have to try.
Super. Great. With that, the floor is open for questions to all our experts. If you can raise your hand, unmute and speak, that would be the best. If not, feel free to put your questions in the chat and then we will address it to our experts here today.
Participants, you can use the chat box or you can use the raise hand button in the Zoom so that we can facilitate to ask question.
Okay, in the meantime, I start with one. It's come as a direct message to me. If you can message it to the chat for everyone, then everybody will be able to see it. So this question was the one that I asked Shreya. Maybe Shane and Tanmay, you all might want to also answer this one. What do you think is the top driver for adopting AI in negotiations, and what is the top barrier? We heard from Shreya, but it'd be nice to hear from you all as well.
I feel like I'll jump on this one. So probably one of the top drivers is that AI can potentially help you make more money. For example, I created a ChatGPT specifically for MBA students who are negotiating their summer internship offers. And over 30 different students used the GPT to negotiate higher offers. So I think a big driver is to generate more income. That's huge. And then maybe a blocker is, I think sometimes we fear what we don't know, or we fear the unknown. So it can be difficult to feel comfortable with something that you haven't used. So I think as a practical next step, create a ChatGPT account, for example, or create a Gemini account, try out the different models and see which one you like, and then go from there.
Great, super. Thank you for sharing that. Tanmay, would you like to add on?
I guess he has answered that. I just myself wish to ask a question to Shane if he can
Please, go ahead.
share some values. So, first of all, the practical problems that come along with using AI for negotiations, that is one question. And do we have a use case analysis that is happening somewhere in the US or UK, which is a positive side of a good example of a use case of AI in negotiations in corporates?
Yes, they're popping up more and more, but these are still early days. There is a company called Pactum that is like Nibble, but more on the commercial side, where they're essentially in procurement transactions, they're using AI to negotiate purchase of materials, like from Walmart to Maersk, these big shipping and shopping companies. And the data that they've published is that the AI that they're using actually generates huge returns and improves the negotiation process, accelerates it like we talked about today. That's one of hopefully many. There's another company called Supplyline. They're starting to pop up everywhere. And that's what my job is, to stay on the forefront and stay on the cutting edge and figure out what's coming next. I think what you're going to see next in the next like couple of years is you're going to see like personality based AI agents, like digital twins of personality. So you're going to be able to predict or analyze how someone might react to a negotiation or what you say in a negotiation before it even happens. So you're going to be able to tell basically how not just one person, but potentially millions of people will respond to a negotiated agreement before it even gets done. This is sort of the future that we're headed towards.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. I recently had an experience similar to what you said, Shane, where you can simulate a negotiation and describe what the other personality will look like. And there's an avatar created and you negotiate with them, and you could go to the level of details to set the context that this person will be sitting in an office cabin or will be formally dressed or casually dressed, and then you practice your negotiation before it really happens. So a lot of exciting things out there. Just quickly going to take 2 questions in the chat. There are more coming in, but just in the interest of time. One question from Shahjahan. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Who will be made liable when some issues arise out of AI? So say if something goes wrong, maybe AI spits out inaccurate data, or does something unethical, who will be held liable? I have my views on this, but I will let the expert speakers address first, and then
Please, Kudrat, put it forward. I'm sure we all have a common opinion on this, or at this moment.
Great. So there isn't clarity on this. What I can share from the EU perspective is that there are a lot of reforms happening. There was a AI liability regulation which was introduced, but now it's been put on hold. There's also a question of what type of liability. Is it going to be fault-based liability? Is it going to be strict liabilities to say that, no, regardless of the care you took, things have gone wrong and hence you will be liable? Will the liability be against the manufacturers? There's a whole lot of questions around what happens in the value chain of AI providers, who becomes a downstream provider, who was providing the foundation model. So the answer basically is there isn't any clarity here today. And different countries have different rules, laws, regulations that are work in progress on this. But ethically, it's a big principle of accountability in AI that someone should be able to say that, yes, I stand by the result of this, or I don't. But that's why you have disclaimers. If at least you all have been using ChatGPT, the data generated here, the output may not be accurate. So lawyers are also thinking about how do you disclaim liability, but also be transparent in terms of the capabilities and limitations of AI.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Kudrat. I'll like to just add on briefly to what you have said. So first of all, we need to understand that right now, artificial intelligence does not have its own legal entity or existence at all. So for the time being, the autonomous agent liability theory that suggests that the AI is going to be liable for all of its fault is out of question. We are not taking it into account at all. And like you also said that we do have fault-based liability, strict liability, and so on and so forth. Right now, the only 2 aspects through which we can understand the liability model of AI could be traditional model of liability that talks about that AI is just as a tool. For example, I have used Jurisphere as a tool for drafting or maybe reviewing a particular tool. I am whole soul liable and responsible for whatever mistake I commit. It's just that you can also correlate to it as the vicarious liability model. You are liable for the acts of your servant. So for the time being, or your agent as well. For the time being, AI is simply your assistant. Yeah. So Shreyas would compliment me on that. And it is pretty much clear for the time being that the human element is going to be punished, or would be liable for whatever errors that are being there right now. That's it.
Okay. And one final question. Can AI compete with human intelligence? Would someone want to take that one? There's always a question about, yes, AI is about the data we give it to train on. One day will all of this data be over because we are relying on AI? What about new intelligence? Shane, do you want to take that? I see you smiling and unmuting.
Well, I feel like we had a great demonstration of that with the legal tech tool today, that it's maybe not necessarily replacing humans altogether today in negotiations, but it's enhancing humans. And I think that's very, very exciting.
Super. Great. Yeah. With that, we've almost come to an end, but please remember, our view even at YCM is that AI is supposed to be human-centric. It makes life for humans easier. It's based on humans' values, needs, and it complements our abilities rather than competing with us. AI is created by humans. So like Dr. Tanmay also said, it's about an agent. It's something that we create. But yes, in a very different world, AI could take over the world. There's one view on that as well. Can we have our final slides? We have other ways that you can get involved with AI, negotiation, mediation. Please, can we have a final slide up with our feedback form? Kindly scan it. Let us know how this webinar was for you today. Yeah, can we please go to the feedback form? Super. And once again, a big thank you to ICFAI Jaipur and all the experts who took the time to join us here today. We've had a great show of 100+ people, a lot of us watching also on YouTube. So thank you for your insights and being so open and available to get this conversation going.
Pretty much. Thank you so much, Kudrat, for this initiative, which is very, very unique, I'm sure. And I could see more than 200 people live on YouTube as well. So we had some around 250 to 300 odd participants. Thank you so much to the whole Jaipur team, as well as the expert speakers, my dear friend Shreyas, Shane, for your views, and we hope to be in touch. And I'm sure our university and our students, after sharing the feedback, would be really interested to establish a YCM chapter at our institution as well, like we discussed. So awaiting for the next collaboration and session with you.
Absolutely. Great. All right. So until we meet again, do remember, no matter what it is, you can resolve it.
Thank you. I hope all the participants have filled the feedback form, because that is how you would be getting your certifications. Once again, thanks to our leader, thank you for being there, and all the participants and expert speakers once again.